Guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing some upgrades on the Green Goblin.
You're dealing with the Green Goblin now!
Mainly this Viper shifter. We're gonna do a how-to on how to install this, taking apart the interior, putting this in, adjusting the shift cable, plus we got new belts or harnesses for the seats, PRPs, and green. Nothing wrong with the stock stuff, but they were getting a little faded and the rubber was all burned up on them. So we swapped them out with some PRPs, so we got that for the driver's seat. And then lastly, we got new whips. These are by our friends over at Dirt Direct. Shout out to Raul. We've been running multiple brands of whips on basically all the machines. Red Bull's running Martians, the white machine has 5150s, our blue car will be running M whips, and Green Goblin will be running Dirt Direct. Now all these brands are American made, just like this one. They all have their own base, and that's what hits the home run when it comes to these American companies that make their own whips. In this case, Dirt Direct, this is their base. They make this base. It's a quick release. Let me just quickly show you guys. Boom. It's really simple, really easy to use. And yeah, basically we're running different whips on different machines, and this is gonna be one on the Green Goblin, Dirt Direct. These whips are an all white color. We're gonna put those on. I already ran the wires off camera. This has a 2-pin with a screw on. But yeah, we'll pop these on real quick, and then we'll move on to doing this Viper shifter. Viper kindly donated this shifter to us. I've been wanting one for a while anyways. It's probably the #1 upgrade you could do to your machine when it comes to ergonomics, feel, and just basically giving a quality component to your machine that you're gonna use every single time. Shifting, if you're gonna move the machine, you're gonna use a shifter, and it's probably the #1 product you get to add a little bit more quality to the feel of the machine, because we all know the shifter is lacking on the Pro Rs, no doubt. Parkour! Oh, I still gotta put the base on. Let me show you guys how this works. This is the base. We'll go in place of that one. Basically, once it's on there, that's all it is. Pretty cool. All right, we got the shifter ready to go. We're gonna start pulling off some of the stuff here. We gotta take the seat out. We gotta remove the panel on the driver's side. Now I like doing the driver's side because you won't have to remove the passenger side. If you do the passenger side, you're gonna have to remove both the passenger and the driver's side. So we'll show you guys what I'm talking about when I get to that. I'm gonna pull this liner out. This is a floor mat from DKZ Off-Road. And then we'll pull the seat out. There you go. Oh. Almost lost you there. So I just finished replacing the belt as well on the machine. Basically getting it ready for a ride coming up. But not by me. The wife is gonna take it out for a ride.
Boy, have you lost your mind, because I'll help you find it.
We're just trying to prep her for her, make sure she has no issues. So yeah, let's start pulling off this panel here, which actually is gonna require us to unbolt this one. You take the first row of bolts off, so you can kind of push this up, and then you can start taking off this stuff. You're also going to want to remove the push pins here holding this panel. There's a 10mm towards the front, and then I'm going to remove the seat harness for this PRP because it's kind of right against the plastic and pushing up against it, so I suggest removing it as well. With the hardware out of the way, you're going to want to remove this guy. Then this guy should be loose. And you're going to have to muscle it out. Pull the cup holder out. And this guy. Alright, with that basically pushed up, you can now remove this panel, because this panel was tucked in under this one. We'll remove a push pin here. We'll remove the rest of the 10mm hardware that are here, down over here. There's about 4 of them. And I believe there's a push pin on this panel up here that you're going to want to remove. And then you can slide this whole panel outwards. Alright, so now we have access to the shifter. We're going to want to remove this pin right here. And I found the easiest way to do it is actually to remove the driver's side, because once you remove the driver's side and you take the clip out, the C-clip, just like this one, off from the passenger side, you can push the pin towards the driver's side, and loosen up this whole shifter assembly. Opposite, if you did the passenger side, you won't be able to actually gain access to this clip because this panel sits right up against it, and there's no real room to take off this C-clip with the passenger side off only. So in this case, there's plenty of room to get the clip off on the passenger side. So you can reach in here, use a screwdriver or pick, and carefully keep your hands on the C-clip and don't lose that C-clip because well, you're gonna need it. So we're gonna do that now, and then we're gonna go to the bench and show off the Viper shifter and what are the advantages of getting this Viper shifter. Now we'll push the rod. Pull this pin out. There you go. And that pin basically holds the shifter in place. Now that it's loose, we can basically go ahead and get some needle nose and work these cables out of position, and then the shifter will be gone. Careful not to break these little green clips. You just want to pinch them enough to sneak them out. And there's one. We'll do the same for the bottom. Let's go to the tabletop and check out the Viper shifter. Alright, if you're watching this video, it's likely because you dislike your shifter and you've heard of this product. Now, if you've never heard of it, you're probably going to want to get one. It is freaking awesome for the Pro R, Pro XP, and Turbo R platform. They also make them for the Can-Am X3. We will have one on Big Blue, but I mean, the bread and butter is definitely the RZR Pro platform. So here I have it kind of assembled here. I want to show you guys what is beneficial about this shifter, why the operation is so smooth, and why you're going to love this thing. So what sucks about the stock shifter, it's very easy to slip into high when you're just trying to put it into low, or slip it into neutral when you're trying to put it into reverse. And this shifter basically takes out all the guesswork because there is different angles of where the shifter can land to put you in the correct gear. Now, as you can see, this is a big, beautiful piece of billet aluminum, but they also put this plastic liner so the aluminum shift rod is also on riding on the plastic and not riding on the aluminum. So it gives you a nice quality feel. It's also very easy to shift between reverse and low for you guys that are rock crawling. As you can see here, you can go back between reverse and low. We'll show you guys more of that when it's on the machine. Towards the back, hold on. Towards the back here, this piece is actually made to stabilize the shifter, so there's very minimal movement. And that actually does work really well. There's a clamp that goes onto the bracket that's on the machine, and that serves a nice purpose to holding this plate, so when you're banging against the plate with the shift rod, it feels and works great. There is a rubber boot to keep out all the water out of the center console, and then of course at the hinge there's a spring that pretty much puts the rod against the driver's side at all times with tension from that spring. We're gonna go ahead and install this. I think I have it backwards as I display it, so I'm gonna take it back apart. We're gonna install just the rod and the hinge mechanism first, and of course this back plate that holds the plate in place, and then we'll put the boot on, and then we'll put the upper plate. All right, back to the shifter. You'll know the orientation. The cables will be on the left side, of course. And what we're gonna do is actually install the cables first. So we're gonna stick this guy in here like this. There you go. There we go. There we go. So now that's in, we'll put this into position. Put this guy, actually I might put a little bit of grease on that. Put a little bit of grease on the shaft, put it through, put the clip back in, and then the shifter is basically installed at that portion. Then we'll follow it up with this guy. There we go. Now we're gonna put the boot over the shifter. See that? Look at this guy. See, that stiffens up the plate a lot more. The forward and back motion is not gonna move at all. So honestly, it might need a little bit of adjustment because this shifter looks like it needs to go forward a little bit. See that? Because that's reverse and it's a little too rear wood, and neutral is a little bit off too. We want it to fall in this little section here. It does go into neutral, it does go into high. We'll play with the shift cables in a little bit. In the meantime, let's finish up the rest of it, and we'll reinstall the panels. All right, there's 3 screws you're gonna want to remove. Obviously, you want to do this with your header nice and cold, or your engine cold. Ow! Bastard. Alright, it was definitely not 13. A 15 millimeter is what you got right here. So here we have our cables. Our adjustment screws or nuts are right there. We're gonna loosen them both up and then see where it wants to push us. So basically, if you loosen them both up and then push the shifter where you want it to be, like in that little spot I was talking about, in that little cutout section, when you want it to be centered right there, then you'll see on the cables which one will need to be adjusted which way. All right, so to take the slack out, you're gonna wanna loosen these nuts at the top and then work them kind of upward. Then you can see how much play there is here. This is that play that you're feeling at the shaft, at the rod on the shifter. So what we're gonna do is, to get that play out, we're gonna put this nut all the way to the top, pull on the cable, and actually work the bottom nut to tighten. So we're trying to take that slack out completely. We don't want it super tight because we could possibly snap a cable, but we don't want any slack. So this is nice and tight, not too tight, but very firm. We'll run this nut back down so we don't have play, and we'll do the same to the other side. We want that slack out of it. All right, now we're gonna go see where our cable or our shift rod is at. The cables are nice and snug. Now before we started making our adjustments, we did leave this in the center section because that's where we wanted to live. Now right now, you can see very little play, and when the play stops and we let go, it actually ends up in the middle where we want it. So now reverse, that's high, or excuse me, that's low. So we go back between reverse and low, make sure it goes into high, park, goes into park just fine. That's low again, and then we're gonna put it into neutral. And neutral, yeah, I like it. That's reverse. We're gonna verify real quick. I wanna make sure that says reverse. Yeah, but showing reverse, low, park. Yes, it is working correctly, but the main thing is we are center to where we want to be, and that's that spring actuation from the shifter. Viper makes it so you constantly have tension towards the driver's side. Damn, my hands are dirty. And that's what keeps it in this area, which is great. It does not get snagged on this ear unless you want it to be there, which is, again, quality engineering on this one. Big shout out to Viper for hooking up a Green Goblin with this shifter. It is basically one of the best options you can do for your machine. It is gonna make shifting a breeze. You'll know what gear it is in without having to look down, and put it into high is just as easy as putting it into park. So definitely my favorite, probably my favorite option. Besides the cage is safety reasons, you know, but besides that, this is probably the #1 option go to as an add-on accessory. Definitely check out Viper Shifter on their website, or you can buy them on the website that we have in our parts store, glifeutv.com. That's how you can support the channel, by buying parts, and we can make more videos like this one. So back here at the cables, I just want to make sure everything's nice and tight. Keep in mind, I could probably tighten this more, but I do want to get longevity out of my cables, so no, I'm not gonna do that. So I'll put this cover back on and we should be good to go. We can start reassembling all the plastics. All right, lastly, we're gonna put it in our harness. I did remove the whole OEM setup, which has a retractor here. On the 2025s, the retractors are now built into the bar up here, which makes for a smooth operation. Now this one was still great. I had no complaints other than they were super faded and burned out already. So no biggie, we're swapping them with PRPs. I've been running PRPs on all my machines. They keep me safe, I trust them. So definitely, if you need new harnesses, PRP is the way to go. Now this one's gonna be really simple because all we gotta do is bolt it up here with this nut and bolt, same as the factory. One here, and then loop them around the bar. And it's just a straightforward install, guys. We're gonna do this real quick. Boom, there you have it. The green's not showing up as well as I would like it to on camera. I'm telling you right now, it's like a lime-ish bright green. Like the green you would see on a rainbow. Looks freaking great. I'm gonna give this thing a wash, cover it up. It's gonna be going on a ride next week. The wife's gonna be driving, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching as always. Stay tuned. We do have a review video coming out, or not a review video, our first impressions, first drive of a Polaris Slingshot. Also, we did some updates to the Mavar. It's back together, and we'll show you guys that on video very, very soon. In the meantime, go hit us up at glifeutv.com and go buy some parts for your machine. Big Blue is working hard. We got a cage on there. We'll talk about more on this machine, maybe a part 2 very soon. I gotta go pick up some very important parts probably this coming week, and that'll get the ball rolling to have a lot more stuff getting done, including the trans install. The diff will be sent out, and just the suspension will be moving along. So definitely update on Big Blue. Part 2 will be out this month of July, early July. That's what I'm saying.